Alright. Letter M in the ABC review series, The Mummy, 2017 with Tom Cruise. So I saw this when it came out. I thought it was okay. So I bought the Blu-ray, right? And so at the time I was dog watching, pet watching at my folks' house. So I bought it and I put it in to watch and I fell asleep. Yeah. And I haven't watched it since. So rewatching it today for this review series. Because here's the thing. I did The Mummies for, was it the first, back in 2020? For the first annual birth month. So I didn't do this one because I did the two I grew up with plus the Tomb and Dragon Emperor because they had the same characters I grew up with. But this one was on its own, so I didn't do it. And I never attempted to try it again. And when I was putting together for this review series, I'm like, you know what? M has to be this Mummy. I'm going to do it. Because there's stuff to talk about with this. Rewatching it again today, oh boy, is there a lot to talk about. So, of course, we got to go back to the inception of this. Universal said they wanted to bring back the concept of the Universal monsters. They tried before with Dracula Untold and the Wolfman from 2010. Because the Wolfman was... I remember that with Anthony Hopkins and, what's his name? Benicio del Toro. That wasn't bad. I actually kind of liked that movie. It wasn't that bad. It was a little too old-fashioned-y, like, you know. But, and then I never saw Dracula Untold. Never, Dracula in a War, nothing for me. And then this came out. Because I'm a fan of the Brendan Fraser films, and they said this is going to start Cinematic Universe. Because, you know, everybody keeps going back to Marvel. Like, Marvel did it first. Fuck no. Universal did it first. Back in the 30s, Universal started the Cinematic Universe. Sure, it wasn't as interconnected and interwoven as Marvel is now, but they did it. With Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Invisible Man. They had, was it Frankenstein meets the Wolfman? House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula. They had those. They had crossovers. Even Abbott and Costello got in on the fun. Who's on first? I don't know. He's center field or something like that. I don't give a darn. Oh, he's... But yeah, just... They did it first. And so they're trying again. Didn't work. And if you watch this movie, I'm not saying you have to, I'm not telling you to by any means, but if you watch this movie, you can see why it didn't work. They were so interested in starting a universe, they didn't stop to think to actually make it a mummy movie instead of... Okay, so take Iron Man, for example, right? The first Iron Man movie wasn't, Nick Fury walking in at the beginning of this and telling, hey, I remember Tony Stark. That motherfucker had an arc reactor. Something like that. Samuel L. Jackson. No. We saw the story. I know, like, 2 of Iron Man movies are told through flashback. Did you ever notice that? Iron Man and Iron Man 3, they're told through flashbacks. It's like, in this one, we see the explosion, and then we go back to before it in the first Iron Man, and then in the other one, he's telling Bruce Banner, the entire story. So, yeah, they're both told through flashback. At least, like, the part of the first one is. But it seems like they wanted to copy that template. You have Russell Crowe showing up at the beginning of this. We start with, like, Crusaders in England or something, and I guess London, there's a bunch of bodies of Crusaders underneath London. I guess, I don't know. And it starts with Russell Crowe walking in, and even before they show him, you can tell it's him because he's got the hair. You can tell from the hairstyle it's him. He's walking in, and there he is. And yeah, and then we cut from that to the flashback of our mummy, Princess Amunet, born to a pharaoh. He and his wife end up having a child, born a boy, so she doesn't get to take over. This came out in 2017. Was this the start of the whole Me Too, female empowerment bullshit that went on? Because, okay, I remember when it was announced there's going to be a female mummy, I was skeptical. Not totally against them. Like, if they did it right, it could work. It didn't work. They didn't do it right. They don't focus on her enough. You get this story with her, and she's killing to become Pharaoh. And if they had stopped her, if she had just killed them, and then she was taken and mummified for it, then that would be fine. But they had to shove this. She's going to use this dagger with this gem to summon Set, the god of death, and it's like, and that's the plot. She wants Nick, our main character, Tom Cruise. She wants him because she's chosen him, so she can stab him and make him the god of death, whatever it is. And it's like, but that's the mummy's not the focus here. In the Brendan Fraser ones, the mummy was very much the focus. Even in the Mummy Returns, when it was about getting that bracelet and getting to Amsher, getting to Amsher and facing off Scorpion King, he was still a part of it. He was still a main part of it. They still put him back together. He was still a big part of the film. The mummy in this film feels like a secondary villain. Feels like a henchman to the main villain that is Set. And even when Set arrives, because they decided it has to be Tom Cruise that becomes Set, it's not a big villain. They play like this is going to be some big villain. And it's going to be uncontrollable. But he gets stabbed. He turns. Stuff happens, which I'll get to when I get done talking through the movie. And then he run off. It's not a big bad. It just doesn't do anything. They were more concerned about setting up the universe than they were about making a singular film first. And you could have this set up. And I'm gonna tell you how I would have done it after I get done running through the film. So after we get the story with Aminette, where she kills her father's wife, I don't know if that's her mother or not, and the baby, that's something I would change in my version. But she goes to, bring Set to life, and it doesn't work, and she is mummified alive. And then cut to Baghdad, Iraq, whatever, Mesopotamia, whatever, in present day, 2017, with Nick and Vale, our main characters for this. Well, Nick's our main character, played by Tom Cruise. Vale is played by an extremely unfunny Jake Johnson. And I know you reference, he's funny on A New Girl. I'm sure he is. Here, he's dead. Me failing at stand-up. And I'm good. I'm funny. But this... that was intense! No, he's not funny. At all. And they do something in him that I didn't realize was a ripoff until I watched the movie that it ripped off. And when I watched that movie, I went, wait a minute, this is very familiar to that Mommy movie. And then, watching this again, they ripped it off, but we'll get to it. So, Nick has some sort of map that is leading him somewhere, and he got from somewhere. We don't know, because they decided not to show that. Who needs exposition? Who needs a story being told? They can just show it. They can just tell us about it instead of showing it to us, right? So, And dumbass orders an airstrike, which creates a giant hole. And then we meet Courtney B. Vance plays it, their general or something. The one they're supposed to be do something else, but they're looking for antiquities instead. And we meet Jenny, who supposedly shared a hotel room with Nick the night before, and he stole that map from her. Wouldn't that be something that we should see? I don't want to see them have sex. I'm talking about, like, shouldn't we have focused on them meeting, like him being after something and them meeting and him taking it I mean, I get Jonathan, the original, say he pickpocketed it off of O'Connell, but we get to have an interaction with them in that movie. We get to have that moment, and it's not really needed. But here, I feel like it would have been needed to start off with that instead of, I don't know. And so they go down there and they find it, and Tom Cruise, like an idiot, shoots the thing and releases. So apparently, the mummy's weakness in this film is mercury. Sure. I'm sure they explained it, but I don't know. But he frees her, and that makes him her chosen. So, yes. And they decide to fly it out of there. They just having it hang out of the plane. I get it, it's cursed, you don't want it in the plane, but come on. Vale gets possessed, and then Tom Cruise shoots him like a gangster. Like, seriously, he's holding a gun like this when he's shooting at him. It's like, Tom Cruise, you're not a gangster. You're the whitest white person I've ever met. He's no gangster, but he's holding like this. Shoots him 3 times, and he's dead. But we'll get to it later. And the plane crashes, but Tom Cruise somehow survives. He's unkillable because he's cursed by Aminet. Okay. And we get to the restaurant scene where he's sitting there drinking, and he gives the look that every one of us saw when we watched this. And, yeah, so he sees Vale in the restaurant and runs to the bathroom. Ends up being the Goodman's bathroom. But he sees a very ghostly, decrepit version of Vale, who is cursed to be a ghostly apparition. Does that sound familiar to you? American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London. They ripped it off. And I would have been fine if Vale just stayed dead, but they brought him back as this ghostly apparition thing. Tells him, Aminet has chosen him, basically. He's exposition dump. And we get chases with mummy, zombie things. It's very weird. They don't look like the mummy, zombie things at all, but then she chases after him, and she gets captured by Russell Crowe and his people. They're called Perdigum. Okay. They're the shield of this universe, apparently. And Russell Crowe reveals himself to be Dr. Henry Jekyll. Now, having Dr. Jekyll as I would have had Van Helsing be the Nick Fury of your universe. That makes more fucking sense, doesn't it? He's the monster hunter. Dr. Jekyll's another monster. Why would you have him be your Nick Fury? It makes no sense. Van Helsing would make more sense. I get it. Not a lot of people liked the Hugh Jackman movie. I did. I think I haven't seen it in a while, but I believe it's on the docket for the letter V. I think. Let me look. If not, I can put it back. V. No, I changed it, but I may switch it back. I may switch it back. Now I'm talking about it, but I remember that being okay. Nothing spectacular, but fine. I like Hugh Jackman. But, yeah, here we get exposition that apparently they should have let her finish the ritual so they could obliterate Set once and for all. So he plans to let the ritual go through, stab him with the dagger, the jewel on top. I skipped some stuff, but it's nonsense running around action scenes that don't amount to much other than Tom Cruise running and stuff. But apparently Dr. Jekyll's plan is to stab Nick with the bejeweled knife and transfer Set into him and then obliterate Set, I guess. Before he could do that, he Mr. Hyde's out. And when he's Mr. Hyde, he has a Cockney accent for some reason. And during this, Aminette secretly summons bugs to bite people and put them under her control, so she can escape and create a big sad face, because they did that in the 99 movie, so let's do it here, right? And the Jekyll, no, Mr. Hyde didn't go anywhere because he comes back at the end, but yeah, and then we get this underwater chase where Vale leads. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna lead you to her, and she'll take you, and I'm free." And like, okay. So Jack was nicer. He just wanted his spirit to be free. This guy's evil, I guess. But I don't know. Jake Johnson's not a bad actor. I liked him in Jurassic World. Sorry to say, but I did. He could have come back in Fallen Kingdom and take Justice Smith's place, and it would have been fine. It would have made more sense than just bringing this random guy in. But he's not very good here. But so Jenny is supposedly apparently killed, and we have a showdown between Aminette and Nick, and this is where we get the cons of having a female villain. Guys can't hit girls. It's not, there is a couple times, but it's mostly CGI. And every time he tries to fight, like there's a scene in the woods earlier where he tries to hit her with a branch, it breaks, and then she flings him across the forest. And here, every time he tries to fight her, she bitch slaps him back down. Until eventually he decides to stab himself with the blade because she convinces him. She tries to convince him, let her do it, so that he could save Jenny. But he stabs himself, then he sucks the life force out of her, brings Jenny back, takes off with a reborn Jake Johnson, and we see them burying her in the Mercury thing. She's like a mummy corpse, and showing us that Perdigium is going to keep on going. I will say there is Easter eggs in there. You have the creature of the Black Lagoon's arm, a vampire skull, and the Book of Amun-Ra from the 99 Mummy movie is in there as well. So it could take place in the same universe, but I don't know. This movie always leaves me hollow, I think, because there's so much that could have been done with this, and they put too much into this. Like, you take out the Henry Jekyll. Like, we didn't need Mr. Hyde to come out and attack. We didn't need that. You know why they did it though? Because the Hulk came out in the Avengers, so we got to stay here. That's the Avengers. This is your first movie. Avengers was what? The 6th movie in that thing? You got Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers. Avengers was the 6th movie in the MCU. This is your first movie, and you're going to put Mr. Hyde in there. You should be focusing on the goddamn mummy. And if you want Nick to have a connection, here's my pitch for how they could have done it. So, set up the thing at the beginning with her being pissed that her brother was born, right? She kills the mom, she kills the dad. Before she can kill the brother, the guards swoop in, take her away, mummify her. Our main character could be Nick. That'd be Nick. Nick is the descendant of her brother. An ancestor, a descendant, whatever you want to call it, of her brother. That's their connection. And because he is the descendant, she has chosen him. Descendant. And let's do this a little bit differently. Instead of having him be the one that becomes Set, have her choose Vale. Have Vale be the one that's going to become Set. Don't have it be your main character, because that doesn't make any sense. Or, let's not have Set. Take him out of there. Let's just have a mummy going around causing chaos. Mummy's released, causing chaos. He worked in the 99 movie. I keep trying not to say original. In the 99 film, just have it here. And then, when they try to do something, they have help at the end from a mysterious organization that Jenny works for, but she doesn't say what, and he and Vale walk off, or they come in at the end or whatever. She goes something like, "We need to talk," and then you have a post-credit scene, which they don't have in here, but a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene, whatever, that introduces them to a Van Helsing, not Dr. Jekyll. This is our proprietor of Paradigm, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Van Helsing. Boom! You have your connection. There, add other stuff in, but mostly focus on the actual mummy. This was Tom Cruise action movie. Oh, look, there's a mummy with a blade. Summon an evil demon creature thing. This was not a mummy movie. This was a Tom Cruise vehicle. I think maybe if you didn't cast Tom Cruise, you would have got a better mummy movie. I think he had put his influence in. Is he a producer or something? Hold on. Screen story. He didn't write it. Screenplay. He didn't write that either. Production designers. No. Director of photography. No. Executive producers. He's not a producer. You had to have some kind of hand in it for it to be his big action vehicle. The acting in this is not bad. It just you don't get the time to know the characters. You don't get time to adjust. Like if we had that scene where they met and they talked about each other, that would have given us something. There's no character development really in this because we're too busy trying to build a universe in one film instead of spreading it out. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is where it is because it didn't try to rush to the finish line. It started with Iron Man and built its way through each film. They just said, let's do it all here, and it didn't work. And that's why we don't have Dark Universe anymore. Apparently they're still doing some stuff. They're doing that Renfield movie, I guess. Nothing beats Dwight Fry, but yeah. So when it comes to this, I just have to say, it's not worth your time. I thought it was going to be a Friday in Hell, but it's not that terrible. There's some good stuff about it. I love seeing Tom Cruise get his ass kicked for some reason. But yeah, it's not worth your time. So not worth your time. Excuse me. So, that's it for M. Next, N. And it's a horror movie produced by WWE Studios, starring Luke Evans. Soak on that. Till then, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.